Hi Year 6, this is your English video for Monday the 1st of February, and we are going to be thinking about how it feels to climb a mountain. And I have got a very special guest here who has actually climbed a mountain, and I'm going to interview that person and find out exactly what it is like to actually go on a mountain climb of a very, very high mountain. So I'm going to be asking some questions of the lovely Miss Young, who has done some mountain climbing in her life, and we're going to find out what it's like. And eventually I would like you to write a guide to teach somebody how to climb a mountain if they've never climbed a mountain. So you need to listen carefully. I'm going to ask you afterwards to do a mind map on everything that you have found out. So listen carefully to all the equipment that you may need, to all the preparation you may need to do, to the things that may happen when you climb the mountain. And let's ask Miss Young a few questions and find out what it's actually like to really, really actually climb a mountain in real life. So hello there, Miss Young.
Good morning, Mrs. Ford. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. No mountain climbing at the moment, sadly, but I'd love to do it one day. What makes somebody want to climb a mountain, do you think?
So, for me, personally, I grew up in the countryside where it was very flat in East Anglia. And then when I moved to Brighton, I really loved the South Downs. And I met some friends who really liked going and climbing mountains. And I was like, I've never tried that before. This was when I was in my 20s. And it just sounded really exciting. The idea of being up high. I love it even when you're on the downs and you look over the views. So it just really appealed to me, that different sort of bird's eye view of the world. That's why I started going mountain climbing.
Oh wow, so the views that you get when you're at the top sound amazing. I have heard lots of people say that. I will attach some videos to some links, children, to this video, and there's a video of some children that actually climb Scafell Pike for children in need, and they show you the videos when they get to the top. It's very windy, but the views are amazing. So maybe it gives people a bit of a feeling like Philippe Petit got when he was on the wire above New York on his tightrope walk. What's the most enjoyable thing, thinking about that, Michelle? What's the most enjoyable thing about mountain climbing?
Sometimes getting to the top and admiring the view. Once you've got up there, it can be hard work, and you do have to keep going. I think the snacks are delicious. Take lots of snacks, but the view at the top. I've climbed a couple of tall mountains in this country, and when you're at the top, sometimes you are above the cloud level, and that is absolutely amazing to see that you have walked up above the clouds. It's just exhilarating.
That's amazing that you can get above the cloud level. Goodness me. Wow, children might have only seen that when they've been flying in a plane before. Goodness. Sounds like an incredibly exciting thing to do. What equipment do you actually need then when you climb a mountain? I'm sure you can't just leave with nothing really there. What equipment do you need when you climb a mountain?
You need lots of equipment. You need to be well equipped for this. First of all, you need to make sure you've got a rucksack that's quite sturdy to carry lots of things in. You also need to have the right clothing. So layers are important. So I've got a thermal layer underneath, and then a top. Lots of thin layers that you can put on and off as you climb up the mountain. A finished jumper, then a fleece layer. I'd always take that. It gets cold. The higher up you go, it gets cold. And then always you need some waterproofs. So you should always have waterproof coat. And I actually got these new for Christmas this year. Waterproof trousers. They're quite nice because they come in a pack. You might not start walking in them, and you may not need them on the walk you go on that day. But if it starts raining, you're in a little fold-up bag, you can unroll them and easily put them on. So having these to keep you warm and dry is really important. Thick socks to go under your boots. So you need to have some climbing boots. I've actually left my climbing boots outside in the shed, I've just realised. But you know what climbing boots look like. Have a look at some online. You want some with nice sturdy grips on the bottom and support of your ankles. On your head, I go for a scarf that goes goes around your neck that you could also put over your ears, because it gets windy up high and I suffer with earache, so it doesn't look glamorous. I know that, year 6. It's not a fashion show on the mountain, but something that covers your ears, really useful. I'd also say a hat. Don't go for one with a bobble, because if you have a bobble on it, you then can't get your hood up and stay nice and dry if it starts raining. So a hat, as well as something to go around your ears, is a really good idea. And also, you want to keep your hands warm. So some nice gloves, really important. They don't need to be too thick and woolly. You want ones with fingers, really, so you can grip on. But these ones are quite nice, these thermal gloves that I was bought a few years ago. In your rucksack, you should take a metal water bottle. It keeps the water cold, and having little sips of water on the way up and on the way down, really important. Take some snacks. Now, I haven't been to the shop, so this isn't what I'd normally take, but it's an idea. So things like some seeds, these are pumpkin seeds, some apricots, or some raisins, like a healthy snack bar. You wouldn't take them in pots like this, but if you could buy healthy snack bars that would give you energy, maybe an apple. Mrs. Ford would probably take an apple. I wouldn't take something like a banana, they'd get all mushy, but little lightweight snacks that give you energy, really important. Also, really important, you need to know where you're going. So you need a map. So this one's of the Lake District. I've been here a lot of times in my 20s, and I went again a couple of years ago. You can see, we talked about the contour lines. If you look, the contour lines are really close together. It shows the sides of the mountains are really steep. So you need to have this with you. We also take a compass with us when we go, so we can work out which direction we're going in. And I'd also put your map in a plastic case. You can hang it round your neck, so you can hold it like this and carry that so it stays nice and dry, that you know where you're going all the time. You need to work out where the footpaths are on your map and plan your route before you go. There's lots of great books out there that give you a route for a walk, and those are ones that are really good to follow. I think the important thing to think about, compared to when we go out walking on the South Downs, we might take a day pack with some snacks and some extra layers. But if you're mountain climbing, I would borrow equipment from a friend before I went. Safety equipment that's really important. So I'll take a whistle. This is obviously my school whistle, but it doesn't matter. If you get distressed, have the fall, you need to be able to attract attention, so a whistle's really important. You want a first aid kit as well. So again, you'll have plasters in it, some antiseptic cream, maybe some bandages, not loads of equipment, but just enough in case you had a slight injury. If you did have a big fall and you needed to get the help of the mountain rescue, you might need something like this. This is something I borrowed from a friend if I was doing a big climb. A distress flare. It's quite small. You can slip it in the side of your bag, and you might need to use it. I've never used one in all the times I've been climbing. Another thing that's really important, because it can get cold, and if you have a fall, you might go into shock, a survival bag. These ones, I'm sorry, it's black and white picture, but actually this is bright orange, and it really stands out on the side of the mountain, and that's a really good thing to have, because if you've fallen and you can't get down the mountain, then you would be spotted by the mountain rescue much easier. So it's really important to have a lot of safety things with you if you're doing a mountain climb. It's different to just doing a hill walk. A mountain climb needs a little bit more equipment and a lot more planning.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Miss Young. That leads me on well to my next question about what's the most important piece of equipment, do you think, when you're mountain climbing?
I think a decent rucksack, actually. If you're wanting to start out doing hill walks and go on to mountain climb, a decent rucksack, about 30 litres. My one's got padding on the back, but so you can carry the equipment. You don't want to carry it in a carrier bag up the really important. And then I think the next thing is decent footwear, no mountain climbing in stilettos or ballerina pumps or even trainers. Not a mountain, you need proper footwear. So it's really important. And I know you asked for one, Mrs. Ford, but actually you need lots of things.
No, it sounds like preparation is the key to me. Keeping warm and dry and having decent footwear and something very sensible to carry your things in. So that probably answers my next question, which is what is the most important thing to remember when mountain climbing?
Frozen.
Sorry, Miss Young. Yeah, I froze my end as well. What is the most important thing to remember when mountain climbing?
Don't go on your own, really. Go with a friend. Also, when I went on my last holiday to the Lake District 2 years ago, we stayed in a place and they made us write down where we were going every day and leave it at the base, at the cottage, so that if we didn't come back in a set time, they would send someone to look for us. So again, it's not just, oh, I'm going to go out and climb that mountain. You need to plan. Being organised and planning is really important, and making sure people know where you are. You might think, oh, it doesn't matter, Miss Young, I've got my mobile phone. Do you know what? Up those mountains, your mobile phone signal may not work, and so you cannot rely on it. So this is why good planning is essential to stay safe.
Brilliant advice. I think that probably answers my next question of giving one piece of advice to someone who wanted to climb a mountain. I think that probably answers that. Loads of brilliant advice. I've just got one more question, and that is, which mountains have you actually climbed?
So I've only really climbed mountains in this country. I've climbed Scafell Pike, which is the highest peak in England, and that's in the Lake District. I did that several years ago on my birthday, which is in March, and it was a bit of a grey day down the bottom of the hill. But as we climbed up, we climbed through the cloud level, and at the top it was bright blue and amazing views, and you could see for miles all the lovely white fluffy clouds. Absolutely amazing. And the other peak I've climbed is Snowdon, and that's the highest peak in Wales. And that one, I would say Snowdon's a bit of an easier climb, really. There's a lot of main routes, a lot of people climb Snowdon, and they've got a lot more facilities there. But it was enjoyable. It was a great view from the top. I would say, I don't consider myself to be a regular mountain climber. I would never climb in the winter, never ever. I'd climb in the spring and the autumn, and in the summer, if you were climbing, you'd need to think about different equipment like a sun hat, sunscreen, because again, the intensity of the race, probably taking extra water, that would be really important. People do climb in the winter, but they are really experienced at doing that, and I think you have to build your way up and do lots of climbs before you get to that level.
Brilliant advice. Thank you so much, Miss Young, for all that wisdom and all that advice and all that information. So Year 6, what I'd like you to do is do yourselves a mind map with all that information on. So you could have one part of the mind map talking about equipment, one part of the mind map talking about all of the preparation that you need to do, one part of the mind map telling you the most important pieces of advice or safety, or if you run into any sort of problems. So preparation before sounds key. Then when you're actually on your climb, what do you need to do? What equipment do you need? And what to do if you run into a problem? If you remember that survival bag that Miss Young showed you. So I will put some links in this video so you can do plenty of research. Okay, Year 6, and we'll be carrying on with this all week. We're going to go on to writing a report about it. So thank you so much, Miss Young. Good luck, Year 6.